Hey everybody, it's your boy Crazy B here with another Star Wars Squadrons video. Now today, for this video, I want to talk about what kind of game modes they should add to Star Wars Squadrons. Right now you only have two, dogfights and fleet battles, and I'm starting to think that in a couple months, in a year from now, it's gonna feel quite stale just to play two battles, two game modes. Now, before we get into it, private matches to me is not a game mode per se. It's a feature that allows you to play the game modes amongst your friends and people you privately invite. But that is definitely a must to include. So without that, with that, let's go into the game modes. I think they should be adding to Star Wars Squadrons, and a few of these are gonna sound a bit out there, but let's get into it. So obviously, one of the obvious ones is a larger scale fleet battle. I think they should have a 20v20 fleet battle, very limited AI, 20 players on each team, go at it and have fun. It's unranked, doesn't it's not an official like ranking game mode or whatever. It's just for large scale fun and for people to get a lot of their friends into a match. With 20v20, you can have 4 squads of 5. You can have 5 squads of 4. And I think that would make one hell of an experience. A 20v20 large scale fleet battle game mode. Another thing I think they should add is another obvious one, which is capture the flag. What you could do for capture the flag is kind of the same setup as fleet battles, although there's no phases, right? You get rid of the phases and who's attacked, but you still have the same setup. You still have your frigates and your capital ship, and I would say one corvette and raider for each side that only spawns once. Once it's gone, it's gone. And then you could put a flag on top of each capital ship. The opposing team has to fly to the flag, get it, and fly back to their capital ship hangar and drop off the flag. I think that's a obvious game mode to add. I think that would create a lot of strategy, a lot of a lot of nuance to the game, new mechanics. You could throw AI into it for kills, but again, there's no phase to go attack and get the flag. You fly across the map, you get the flag. If you can fly back across as quickly as you can, you get it, you got it, you're good. And so I think that's another thing that they can do to, again, add more variety to the game, and keep the game fresh. I think that's another game mode that you can add with a rank on it. Something that would be good for tournament play. It's definitely a good game mode to add, and I don't think it would cost them a lot of resources and effort to do it. Literally, you just have to program flags to pop up on these capital ships and a point to go capture them and return them, and that's that. The rest is up to the players. Like I said, you can have a bit of AI for people to sweep up some kills, but it's not important in this game mode. It's just who, at the end of the time limit, has more flags. That's it. Who you could put a 20-minute time limit. Who has more flags at the end of the 20 minutes is the winner. End the story. And there's no destruction on the capital ships. But you could disable the capital ships. I think one of the things you could do on a capture the flag is disable the targeting and the shield. You can outright disable the capital ship so that it can't assist in the defense of the flag. And that would be a smart mechanic to add to it. Again, I think it would take some minor programming. It could be released in a small patch. Not something that would be overly exhaustive to design and create. Now, my third one is a bit out there. This is one of the ones I think is a bit out there, but I think it makes sense. But it's going to require some more maps. Now, when you play on maps like Nadiri Shipyards or Essless, you notice that these are stations with platforms and stuff like that. One game mode I have is what I would call a shuttle run. Here's how it breaks down. You have a best 3 out of 5 rounds, or you have like a few rounds in this game mode. One side has to take their support ship, and they have to get it to a designated landing zone. You do it in a set time period. So let's say you start the match, you give 1 to 2 minutes to land a shuttle in a designated area. It has to be your U-Wing or your TIE Reaper, right? You land in a designated area. Let's say in 2 minutes you land 5 shuttles in that area. Then you have 5 attempts, right? Your shuttle goes to that area, it picks up a payload of something, right? Just some kind of payload, just to call it a payload, right? Picks up a payload. You have 5 chances to get those payloads back to your capital ship, right? So the round would end if you A, get all your chances back to your capital ship, or B, the opposing team wipes you out of chances, or C, a time limit is up and then you switch. Then the opposing team does the same. You have a few rounds of it, let's say 5 rounds. At the end of 5 rounds, whoever delivered the most payloads to their capital ship wins the game. It's a bit out there, I know, it's a bit complicated, but imagine just taking your U-Wing, going to a spot, right? Okay, I got my U-Wing here. After that, you have to go and you can't just like circle around and get the U-Wing back there. You would have to go and kind of relay. So goes to point A, relay back to point B, then you can go back to point A. And the opposing team has to try to stop you from relaying. Once you get your chances, you can fly your U-Wing. Only your U-Wing can pick up the payload, not your fighters or anything, not your bomber, not your interceptor. Only your support can pick up the payload and deliver it back to the capital ship. You have a time limit to get those payloads back. Every time the support ship is destroyed, you lose a payload, and then switch sides. Again, this is more out there, real complicated, but I think it's something that can be worked out. But you would need more maps with like structures in it, like Essless and Dindiri shipyards. You can add maps like Kuwait shipyards, or Rebel Outpost in Hosnian Prime and stuff like that. Stuff that we saw in the campaign. Or you can create new stuff like Kuwait drive yards. And I think that would be pretty fun to do. I don't know, that's just me. Just like, it's kind of like a relay race. Again, I don't really have all the details perfect out, but it's something that I think would require a lot of team coordination. You're basically escorting your support ships from point to point, and you can't just go off and do your own thing. You have to stick with your support ship. Is it perfect? No, but I think, again, I'm just spitballing here. I can't really, without the ability to kind of just like see something like that or program something like that as a test, I can't really like go into extreme details or really kind of like suss it out. But again, it's like you escort the ship to one point, you get it there, good. Okay, then you gotta escort it back, right? Because you can't just like, or you have like a cooldown. Okay, you get your shuttle to the point A, you have a 10 to 15 second cooldown before you can drive your shuttle back. Again, it's about staying around your shuttle, staying around your support ships, because in the movies, the TIE Reaper and the U-Wing are troop transports, so they work as shuttles. And yeah, it's about staying around them, escorting them, making sure they stay alive, and kind of just running protection on it. And that, I think that would be a fun game mode. I don't know. You let me know what you think in the comments about what I'm suggesting. My fourth and final game mode that I would like to suggest is what I call Capital Escort. Now, if you watch and you see here a fleet battle, you will notice that the ships move. I mean, the capital ships, right? Kind of circle the map. Now, this is kind of hard. This would need a little bit more programming, but essentially, you're taking everything that you basically have in fleet battles, but instead of putting each faction on opposite sides, put it on one side. It would be faction specific, so the rebels or the New Republic or whatever are trying to outrun the Star Destroyer. So you can win in one or two ways for each faction. For the rebels, you can win by, like in fleet battles, you fill up a meter. Once that meter's full, I would say a countdown happens, and then like you have to keep your meter full above this point, right? So for 30, 60 seconds, you have to keep your meter above this point. If that time limit runs out, then the rebel fleet jumps to hyperspace. For the reverse, on the Imperial side, again, you fill up the meter, you keep it above a point for 60 seconds, you know, and if you keep it above it for 60 seconds, the Star Destroyer will unload Baradium rockets and destroy the enemy capital ship. So those are two ways of winning for that's one way of winning for each side. Fill a meter like you would in dogfights. Keep it filled for a specific amount of time. 60 seconds is just what I rattled off my head, because in 60 seconds a lot of momentum can shift. And either the rebels jump to hyperspace or the Imperial Star Destroyer wipes out the fleet. And then, of course, the second way to win for each side is to destroy the other fleet completely, you know, in the midst of the back and forth. So, unlike in dogfights, everything's available to be shot down from the get-go. Your Corvette and Raiders are available to be shot down. One side only gets one per match. Your frigates are available to be shot down, and your Star Destroyer or your capital ship on the Rebel side is able to be destroyed from the get go. So at the end of the day, you can destroy the other fleet, and if you can destroy them before they destroy you, that's the second way to win, because everything is available for destruction. You know, and yeah, that would be essentially what I would call capital ship escort. Um, you basically escort your capital ship, if you're the rebels, through the map, try to get them to hyperspace, or you try to destroy the Imperial fleet behind you. And I think that would be a good and interesting match to have, you know. But I want to know what you think. Do you think these game modes are good? Do you have any game modes you would suggest? I mean, it's kind of hard because it's so, fighter specific. I would like something sort of like a siege mode where one faction has to defend and one is just purely attacking an objective. But yeah, it remains to be seen what game modes they will actually add, if any at all. I really hope they do, because picking between just dogfights and fleet battles can be quite stale after a while. It got quite stale for me, and I believe for the average player it will get stale after a while, even though the game, nothing plays exactly the same every time, so every experience is different, and they have that. But sometimes you just want to play something that's just more fun, less competitive, or more competitive, or just different. You just want variety. You don't want to wake up every day and eat eggs and bacon for breakfast. Sometimes you want some pancakes. And so I think they should definitely go for some variety. But anyways, that's just me, and those are just my suggestions. I want to know what you think in the comments below. Please like the video if you like it. Please dislike it if you don't like it. Subscribe to the channel to keep up. Hopefully get some more subscribers and do some kind of giveaway. But, thank you. And if anything, just, have a good day. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. It's your boy, I'm Crazy Beat, and I'm out.